Will I ever get to where I'm going? And if I do, will I know when I'm there? If the wind blew me in the right direction, would I even care? I remember the first time that I heard these lyrics. It was like Brandon Boyd, the lead singer of Incubus, had reached across time and space into my soul to pull out the words that I could never find to describe how I was feeling at the time. It was my senior year of high school, and I was struggling to figure out what I was going to do after I graduated. My dream at the time was to go to the School of Visual Arts in New York. And I wasn't sure if my work and my grades were going to be good enough to get me in, but I got accepted. And I was so excited. I would stare at the acceptance letter for hours, and I'd let my mind wander. And I would dream of this amazing life that I was going to create in the city. I'd be surrounded by interesting people with new ideas and perspectives and an open mind. And we'd have lengthy conversations about art, music, philosophy before going out to see a dive band or a band at a dive bar. And things my family and my few friends at the time never really seemed to be interested in. I'd finally be surrounded by people who could see me, who could hear me, who could get me. The truth is, home didn't always feel like home. I often felt lost, lonely, misunderstood. And so I focused on school and work and keeping my parents, primarily my father, off my back. There was always this feeling that the joy and the contentment and belonging that I was searching for was always somewhere else or with someone else. When I realized that I wouldn't be able to afford to go to SVA or any of the other schools that I got accepted to, I went searching. I searched in church, out of church, in work, in friendships, in one-night stands and situationships, in the approval of my parents and my sisters, in bars, but mostly at the bottom of a bottle of whiskey alone. And I know I'm not alone in that experience. A recent article in the Harvard Gazette asked the question, why are young people so miserable? And the study revealed a shift showing that younger adults, those aged 18 to 25, now have the lowest scores of well-being across any age group. In fact, U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy said in an advisory last May that our epidemic of loneliness and isolation has been an underappreciated public health crisis that has harmed individual and societal health. Now, while this is a complex issue, I believe there are two things that we can consider. The first being comparison. As the saying goes, comparison is a thief of joy. In 1974, Richard Easterlin, a professor of economics at the University of Pennsylvania, theorized that people's happiness depends more on their income relative to others rather than their absolute individual income level. And as everyone's income levels rose, the relative comparisons cancels out the positive effect of higher absolute income. Now, there's plenty of research to counter the economic soundness of the Easterlin paradox, but I think the concept still holds weight. Comparison has been a part of our society since the early days of mankind. On a subconscious and instinctual level, humans make comparisons about who has better resources or physical attributes when it comes to pairing and mating. And in today's world, if we weren't comparing ourselves to our neighbors, then we'd compare ourselves to the celebrities that we see on the movie screen or on the magazine covers, followed by a reality TV show like Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous or MTV's Cribs. And now we have social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok. We can compare ourselves to people all around the world, not just our neighbors across the street. I believe that the second reason that we're seeing a decline in the well-being in society is because we're experiencing a hunger for initiation, a transformation that shapes one's identity and sense of belonging and purpose. Major institutions like religion, education, or the military traditionally provided these rites of passage to mark an important transition in someone's life. However, the importance and the impact of the traditional institutions has declined, leaving us with informal initiations that are often shallow, lacking real meaning or strong community connection. People are left with a shallow sense of self and purpose, leading to feelings of isolation and a constant craving for something more. And this craving for something more has left many people open to unhealthy influences and associations that cultivate fear, separation, and the illusion that we are disconnected. It's left many people feeling like they can never do, have, or be enough. So, how do we break free? Well, let's go back to the title of the track for the Incubus album that inspired this talk, Make Yourself. As the lyrics say, you should make amends with you, if only for better health. Because if you really want to live, why not try and make yourself? So here's how you can make yourself. The first step is learning to be still. I have spent over a decade as a marketing professional, and in my opinion, there's only one thing corporations want more than your money, and that's your attention. Because if they can keep you outraged, unfocused, and distracted, they can control you and sell you whatever they want. And I believe this is why meditation, prayer, and stillness are at the center of so many spiritual and healing practices. Because if you take away your attention, you take back your power. Next, decide who you are. What are your principles? What are your values? And you have to make these decisions apart from what your family, your friends, or society thinks. Because there's going to come a day where you will have to stand on your own. You have to decide who you are and force the world to deal with you, not its idea of you. James Baldwin. Once you've made these decisions, write them down. It could be in a journal or a vision board. Now, some people say to write it like it's your obituary, but I think that's a little depressing, so I don't recommend that. This should be a living document, one that will grow and change as you grow and change. And I suggest reading it every morning so that it guides you like a North Star. Society has always been full of people who desire to be told what to do, where to go, and what to say. And honestly, my heart breaks for them because I can't think of anything worse than to spend your entire life succeeding at somebody else's dream. To climb to the top of a mountain and realize it's not even a mountain you wanted to be on. Next, take some time to face yourself in the mirror. Mirror work is a practice created by author and teacher Louise Hay to cultivate self-love, improve self-esteem, and promote emotional healing. When combined with self-affirmations, mirror work can help you rewire neural pathways in the brain related to self-compassion and emotional regulation. When you transform how you think, hear, see, and feel about yourself, you can boost your self-esteem, your self-awareness, and your motivation while reducing your anxiety and stress. Showing compassion for yourself can help you refocus and activate self-regulation systems that promote feelings of safety instead of threats and distress. If you want to heal a relationship, the first relationship you need to improve is the one with yourself. Now, if you've never done an affirmation before, it might feel a little weird because you have to look in the mirror and say nice things to yourself. I know, what a weird thing to do. But if you're not used to speaking nicely to yourself, your brain will simply reject the affirmation. But if you ask your brain a question, it must engage with that thought because our brains crave resolution. So I suggest this format. What if I am? And then insert that affirmation. Start with one affirmation and try it for 21 days straight. See how it is. Controlling where our attention goes, deciding who we are, and healing the relationship with the person in the mirror is incredibly important because as cliche as it is to say, life isn't fair. Sometimes we don't get to go to our dream school. We get laid off from our dream job. The business fails. The person we choose doesn't choose us in the way that we want to be chosen. Or a loved one passes away unexpectedly. There's very little that we have control over in this life, but we always have a choice in how we respond. Your circumstances don't determine who you are. It's who you choose to be in the face of those circumstances. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Viktor Frankl made this observation after his time as a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. Talk about circumstances. So, I invite you to consider, what if you could be good with you right now, without perfect conditions or circumstances, just as a matter of faith, so that whatever tomorrow brings, you can be there with open arms and open eyes and an open heart. Thank you.